Hello everyone, Engineer Pat 5290 coming to you with yet another product review. Today we're going to be reviewing the AMD SD70ACE by Kato. As you see, I have three different models of the SD70ACE. One of the first that you see in front of the camera is SD70ACE 1030. The one onto the top right is the Union Pacific 4141, the George Bush locomotive, and the UP 1943, which is the Veterans locomotive. We have three different models with us today, and all three of them are a little bit differently, and we're going to dive into some of the stats on the ACE and also some differences of the three locomotives. Not only is it the paint, but even some of the exterior differences. So we're going to get into some of the fun facts on the SD70ACE. And before I get into the actual review itself, I would like to thank Advanced Approach Productions, that's my buddy Alex, for providing a lot of information on the ACE. He and I are very good friends, and he provided me with some information on the ACE. Some general information on the SD70ACE. It is a 4,500 horsepower diesel electric locomotive that has been in production since 2004, 2005. The SD70 series is an extended family that began in 1994 with the production of the SD70 standard cab, which was built for two railroads. It's actually three railroads: the Illinois Central, Norfolk Southern, and Conrail, which later went to the SD70M, SD70 Mac, also the SD70M-2, which is the SD70ACE predecessor, and now the SD70ACE and the SD70ACE Tier 4. So today we're going to be focusing on the ACE in particular. So it is powered by an EMD 16-cylinder 710 G3 prime mover. It has a Nathan K5 LLA horn, which is equipped on almost all the ACEs. The maximum speed of these engines are 70 miles an hour, with a fuel tank capacity of 4,900 gallons, and the dynamic braking effort is 106,000 pounds. The tractive effort starting is 191,000 pounds, and at 12 miles an hour, it is at 157,000 pounds. These babies are very reliable, and you can see these engines on everywhere, on pretty much any service anywhere on the railroad. Norfolk Southern uses them for just about every service you can think of. Same with Union Pacific and Burlington Northern Santa Fe. Norfolk Southern and Union Pacific and BNSF have been very good buyers of the SD70ACE. CSX and Kansas City Southern ordered the first-gen ACE, which is what the 4141 is, which I'll explain a little bit more about that in a moment. And Union Pacific actually has Tier 4 credit units like Norfolk Southern does. We're going to be focusing on these three models in particular. We're going to start off with NS 1030. This unit was built in October of 2011. It was rated at 4,300 horsepower and has cab signal and NS leader equipped. And it was the sixth unit in the first order of the ACE for Norfolk Southern. And this was actually the Forgotten Heritage unit because at the Streamline, at the Heritage Units event, the number boards were different. 1982 was the left number board, and the 2012 number board was on the right side. So this is actually the Forgotten Heritage locomotive, which is pretty cool if you think about it. The next one we're going to talk about is UP 1943. I'll go into more details with these engines in a minute. This engine is actually a Tier 4 credit unit. The engine was originally built in April of 2016. This is XUP 9026. It is the 30th order, a 30th unit of a particular batch. It's classified as an SD70ACE by Union Pacific. The full designation is an SD70ACE-T4C, which stands for Tier 4 credit unit. It is obviously a Tier 4 credit unit with an isolated cab, equipped with tractive motor control for optimized adhesion, so that's very effective on the rails. Equipped with smart, consist fuel and power control and cruise control, which is definitely pretty cool. Also equipped with automatic rail conditioners, which are air jets that clean the rail ahead of the wheels, which is very, very cool, especially in tough weather conditions. And as you can also see, the headlight is lowered. This is the Union Pacific aspect for better visibility at night. This was inherited from the Southern Pacific, and the Santa Fe also had that same aspect as well. And on the East Coast, CSX has that. And I'll go more on the details of the engines in a moment. Now for the one that is one of the most unique ACEs as far as the paintwork goes, is SD70ACE 4141. Let's take a look at it a moment. As you notice, the paint scheme on this locomotive is very different. This was inspired by Air Force One, which is the plane the president flies on. It's a beautiful paint job. This was done by UP employees. This engine was built in July of 2005. It was X8423, which this is a first-gen ACE, and it was renumbered on October 7th of 2005, shortly after being built. Rated at 4,300 horsepower, saw very little general service use. This engine did not see a lot of service use. Primary service was on UP inspection trains. This engine actually pulled the funeral train for our 41st president, George H.W. Bush, in 2018. BNSF declared the unit not suitable to lead or crew deadhead service in General Notice 938, which was actually due to the engine having a thunder cab. This was a thunder cab ACE, which means the cab was not isolated. But when EMD went back and redesigned the locomotive, they went back and re-isolated the cab and made them a lot better. So the unit is actually no longer in active service, but it currently sits on display at the Bush Library in College Station, Texas. All the internal components were removed before being placed on display. But this is actually a really cool ACE, if you ask me. So those are the three ACEs that are featured in today's review, and we're going to look at some of the details of each one. So there are a few facts and figures on all three ACEs. Let's look at Kato's rendition of the SD70ACE. It is awesome. I will have to say it, and I'm going to pick and choose some details off of each one to let you look at the difference in between the ACEs. I'm going to start with 1943, and the construction of all these are the same. You got a plastic body, you have a memory ply horn that's been put on, a striking paint scheme on all three units. And if you look at the cab, as mentioned before, you have a nose headlight with ditch lights. And on the first gen, you have the high-mounted number boards with the high-mounted headlights and the ditch lights. This was a first-gen ACE, which is known as the Thunder Cab ACE. And it's because UP bought both generations of the ACE. The details on these engines are absolutely phenomenal. I'm picking all three of these up so you can see all three of them up close. Separately applied handrails, lots of signage on all of these engines, and even an EMD builder's plate on all three of these locomotives. The windows are nicely done. The cab is nicely done, as mentioned on all three of these ACEs. They look really, really good. Handrails are nicely done. As you can come around to the other side of the cab, not much different, but a lot more signage on this side. Even the trucks are nicely done on these engines too. They're not separately applied, but they're molded into the plastic, and they look really pretty. And even the back of the ACE looks really good. No rear ditch lights, obviously, but look at the back of these engines. They look absolutely phenomenal, and Kato makes these very affordable to buy, and they're really good, reliable operators. The drive system on these are really good. Here's a close-up look of 4141. Beautiful paint job on this, and plus it has the Air Force One paint scheme on it, which looks really striking. The back of it just looks beautiful, just like almost all the other ACEs. The tops are nicely done too. Some separately molded in O-rings. And even the fan blades are not separately applied, but the blades are molded into the plastic. And it looks really pretty. And the smokestack looks really good on all three of them. And the difference with 4141, you can see the safety tread on this locomotive is absolutely striking. It looks really pretty down the side, and it just makes it look really nice. The safety tread on this one looks really pretty. And you can even see it on 1943. Beautiful safety tread. I just like it. And even the safety tread on the Norfolk Southern one is black. You can't see it that great, but it's nicely done. It literally looks like you're walking on the tread of the real deal. And even on the fuel tank, you've got some separately painted items up there. You even have some separately molded in cables underneath the cab, which look good. The windows are nicely done too. Even the roofs of the cabs look good. PTC antennas for 1943. You got some antennas for 1030, and you have looks like an air conditioning unit on top of the 4141. So overall, this is a beautiful model to own. I love the SD70ACEs, and it's a good model to own. And the plows are nicely done too, with the air hoses that are separately applied, as well as the front plow. So Kato nails this one out of the park. I fell in love with Kato about 2 years ago, and I love their models. I love their models for what they are and their reliability. So if you would like to go affordable, go Kato. Kato makes good stuff. Since these are DCC ready, which means they're just equipped with just DC power, they have no sound, but I will have to tell you, the best features of these engines, like I said with the Dash 9, is railroad specifics and the paintwork. Obviously, the paintwork on all three look really nice, but it's railroad specific details, especially like the 1943, for example, with the lower headlight, and with 4141 being a first-gen Ace, having the high-mounted headlight and the ditch lights, and with the NS one, I mean, it looks really nice. They go with the railroad-specific details. And the drive systems are really nice. They're quiet. They're fun to operate. And they make really good lash-ups. And like I even said, the 1943 looks really pretty as well. I love this Veterans locomotive. And as you can see, it's the combination of a couple of different locomotives that they did at Union Pacific. They had the Desert Storm unit. They also had the Spirit of the Union Pacific, which was number, I believe, 3300. I can't remember the Desert Storm unit. The Desert Storm unit came out in 1991. And the Spirit of the Union Pacific, I believe, came out in the late 70s or early 80s. They put those two engines together and came out with a very beautiful paint scheme. So that was really, really awesome. The Norfolk Southern scheme looks awesome, and that's one of my favorite schemes on the SD70ACE. And the 4141 is the most unique because it is named after one of our presidents of the United States, but the paint scheme looks really pretty, and it has always been one of my favorite UP Aces of the earlier times. So the best features of these engines, railroad-specific details, and also the paintwork. Kato nails it again. They absolutely did a wonderful job on these locomotives. All right, everyone, we have all three Aces on the head end today. We've got 1943 leading 4141 and NS 1030. The UP Vets engine's going to lead the train. So I've got a lash up lined up, and just note the couple of new cars that I have in the lash up as well. So definitely take a look at that. And all three Katos are going to be hard at work. So I will get to the control stand, and we're going to fire this thing up, and we're going to let it run around the layout for a little bit. So please sit back and enjoy. Well, everybody, that pretty much wraps up for the review of the Ace. I hope all of you enjoyed this lash up and some fun facts on the engines. These look really, really pretty, and they're awesome to collect. Kato makes really good stuff. So if you are looking for a good, affordable locomotive, Kato is one of them with lots of striking details. I pulled these engines up on the head end where you can see the details a little bit more, and they're just absolutely stunning. They're affordable engines for a very good price. So I hope you all enjoyed this review of the Ace, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next time.
Hear that sound of that clickety-clack as they travel along down the railroad track, with the little boxcars being pulled and back, and that little puff of smoke coming out the stack. I love toy trains. I love toy trains. I love the way they look and the way they sound, stopping at the stations in every town. I love the way they travel all around and round. That's the reason I love toy trains. I love to hear the sound of that clickety-clack as they travel along down the railroad track, with the little boxcars being pulled and back. That's the reason I love toy trains.